Things have changed. If you want to be wealthy and happy, learn this lesson very well. Learn how to work more on yourself than you do on your business continually. Learn how to work on your own personal development. This business of personal development is one of the most challenging assignments you'll ever put yourself to. But all I know that this business lasts for lifetime. I know you want to be rich. You want to gain financial freedom, right? You want to live a happy life. Then have this in mind. What you become is more important than what you get. So the most important question you should ask on a job is not what am I getting? Instead you should ask what am I becoming? It will have a great profound effect on your life. Getting and becoming are like twins. What you become greatly influences what you get. So think of it in this way. Most of what you have today, you have attracted by becoming what you are today. To have more than you got, you have to become more than you are.
In my early days, there are several things that used to puzzle me. I used to wonder, why would a person be paid $2,000 a month and another be paid $4,000 a month when they both work for the same company, handle the same products, and work for the same number of years, and also come from the same background? What a puzzle. Why would a person do as well economically in the area of compensation? What's the difference between $2,000 and $4,000? And don't tell me that it is $2,000, because that kind of difference I would have figured it out back then. It could be a matter of time, I thought. Some people do much better because they have more time. Now that's got to be done. You can't get someone else's time. So if you can't create more time, what could you create that would make a difference in the economic results? And the answer is value. Value makes the difference. You can never create more time, but you can become more valuable. This concept of value is a primary lesson in economics. Whether you work on an assembly line or you sell goods and services, you get paid for the value. Now I know you're going to spend time bringing value to the marketplace, but you don't get paid for the time, you get paid for the value for your productivity. You are not paid for the hours you work. That's not true. If it were true, you would have stayed home and you have them send over the money. Rather, you get paid for the value of which you have placed on the hour that you have worked for. Paying by hour is simply a convenient way to measure anticipated value. That's why it's important to ask, is it possible to become twice as valuable and make twice as much money per hour? Is there any other way to become 3 times or even 4 times valuable within the same hour? And the answer is of course. You can become more valuable if you primarily work on yourself. I used to think that performance comes from outside, but I found out that real performance comes from those who have the right stuff inside them. I always look for the answers from outside. Then I learned that success and happiness are not values to pursue. Rather, they are values to develop. People always ask, how do I develop an above average income? The answer is, become an above average person. Learn the seasons of life. Here are 2 phrases I want you to consider. The first is, life and commerce are like seasons. The second is, you cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Now with those 2 phrases as guides, let's take a look at the seasons of life and how best you can handle them. First and foremost, learn how to handle winters. There are all kinds of winters. The economic winters when your financial woes are at the door. The physical winters when your health is short. The personal winters when your heart is smashed into pieces. Wintertime, disappointments, loneliness, that's how the blues were written. So the big question is, how do we handle the winters? Some people go to the calendar and tear out the month of January and pretend it's not there, but that's a childish approach. It solves nothing. This is what mature people do. They get stronger, they get wiser, they get better. It's not such a bad idea to use the winters for personal development. Before I understood this, I used to spend the winters looking for summers just because I didn't understand. Then finally, when I was going through a sales slump, I learned, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skill. Don't wish for less challenges, wish for more wisdom. Since then, I honestly can't tell you that I welcomed all winters, but I can tell you I have used them to gear up for the spring, which always comes after the winter. Learn to take advantage of the spring. What a great place for spring to be right after winter. Opportunity follows difficulty. Expansion follows recession, just like the clock works. God is really genius. Spring is a time to take advantage. Make a note of these 2 words. Take advantage. Don't let the blame weather confuse you. If you want to look good in the fall, this is the time to plant the seeds. We all have to excel in one of these 2 things. Either become good in planting in the spring or learn how to bake in the fall. So get busy in the spring. There's just a handful of the spring for each of us. Learn to nourish and protect your crops all summer. You can bet that as soon as you've planted, the insects and the weeds will try to destroy your crops and will succeed unless you protect them. Part of succeeding is learning to protect what you've created. And this is the greatest lesson of all summers. This is the ugly truth. You will learn that all good will be attacked. Don't press me for the reason. I don't know why, but I do know it's true. Every garden will be invaded. Not to understand that this is naive. You will learn that all values must be defended. All values, social, political, marital, commercial, must be defended. Every garden must be tended to all summer. Unless you defend what you believe in, come fall, you will have nothing left. This is the season where we reap the results of our spring and summers. Maturity can be defined as the ability to take full responsibility for the crops you have tended to, either bountiful or meager. Accepting full responsibility is the highest forms of human maturity and one of the hardest. It's the day you pass from childhood to adulthood. Learn to welcome fall without apology or complaint. With apology if you've done well, and without complaint if you have not. It's not easy, but it's the mature thing to do. Don't come up with reasons for not doing well, because there is only one thing that causes you not to do well. That part is you. You're the only reason you're not doing well. It's not what happens that determines the outcome. What happens happens, and it happens to everybody. To be successful, you must work to eliminate all these self-imposed limitations that are always stunting your personal development. And no matter who you are, that these self-imposed limitations that you always contend with, and let me tell you about them. The first limitation is procrastination. Procrastination is especially dangerous because of its accumulating nature. When you put off doing some minor task, it doesn't seem to be all that important. And if we let a few things slide during the day, it doesn't seem to be like a bad day. But enough of these days pile up and you have a making of a disastrous year. Blame is another self-imposed limitation. At one time or another, we have blamed something or someone. We have had long training in this self-imposed limitation, going back to the certain fruit garden where a man said, "It was this woman who got me into this," and the woman blamed the serpent. And why do we keep on pointing fingers instead of looking within? The ego strives to defend itself. Therefore, when we blame the outside forces, we don't have the force of our own weakness and failure. You may blame an item because of its cost, but my friend, I tell you, the cost is not the problem. It's not the cost that is too much, but the problem is you can't afford it. It's never the fault of it. If you keep shifting the responsibility to it, you'll always be broken and disillusioned. You'll never earn enough. But if you start thinking in terms of me instead of it, you'll experience a surge of personal growth and income. Excuses. The third self-imposed limitation is a close relative to blame. Guess how many excuses exist? Millions, right? And people have got a tremendous strength in avoiding facing the truth, which is they are responsible. I guess you would rather make $1 million or you make 1,000,000 excuses, but you can't have both. So here is a fundamental question you must answer. What are you going to do starting now to improve yourself? It really boils down to this. If you don't get rid of some of your own self-imposed limitations, the next 5 years will be about the same as the last, except here you'll be 5 years older. But by you taking full responsibility and getting rid of your own self-imposed limitations, you will instead become 5 years better. Now, doesn't this sound exciting? Remember, you can change things for better when you change yourself for better. After all, you aren't just a plant or animal completely dependent on instinctive behaviors. You are a human being, a most remarkable creation. You and I are too sophisticated to think that we can change simply by viewing a bit of the philosophical insights. It will take a bit more than that. What will it take? It will take discipline. Discipline is the only thing that will do it. It is the only vehicle to real progress. If there is one thing to get excited about, it's discipline. Get excited about your ability to do the necessary things for growth. No one understands the inherent difficulty in changing the old and persistent habits, but habits begin to change when we change our perception. Most of you don't experience a huge catalytic transformation. Most of your change comes as an evolutionary process at almost imperceptible changes. You just keep indulging yourself in the right direction, forming 1 or 2 better habits here and there until you finally realize you have turned around a major part of your life. In your quest for personal development, there are 3 areas to consider. You can look for developing your own spiritual, physical, and mental. Number 1, spiritual self-development. I must confess I consider myself an amateur in this area because I was raised in a home filled with deep faith. I was imbued with much love for God creation. But regardless of your background, I think you should evaluate that growth and change. You want to make this area vital. Spiritual and ethical values will help you build a strong foundation underneath your quest for wealth and happiness. Number 2, physical self-development. The Bible teaches that we should treat our bodies like temples, and indeed the Jewish laws for hygiene are elaborate and specific. But beyond, I think we need to make a point of dropping our temples, dressing the way that is appropriate to our desire to succeed. Let's face it, how we want to appear to others does make a difference in terms of the ability to function well in the marketplace. In fact, there is another biblical phrase that says, take care of the outside for people and take care of the inside for God. People always look onto the outside initially, and God looks onto the inside always. Now, maybe you think people shouldn't judge you for your personal appearances. Well, let me tell you, they do. And because they do, you should make a point of looking your very best. And another aspect of physical development has to do with staying in shape. The body and the mind work together, and for your mind to stay and have that stamina to thrive, your body should be in as good shape as possible. Do you have a regular exercise program? If you don't have any, make sure that you find one, follow it, and get started on it. In addition, make sure you pay attention to the foods that you always eat, the supplements you always take. Number 3, mental self-development. For most people, mental development stops at an early age. Once they've attained good jobs, it's very easy for many to stop pursuing mental development. Have you heard about the accelerating learning curve? From birth to the age of 18, our learning curve is always dramatic. We learn staggering amount quickly. But as we grow older, we find our niche in the marketplace, our learning curve reaches a plateau. In the past, if all you wanted was an average life, this non-growth mentality was acceptable. I say was because it's no longer true. As technology keeps on accelerating the pace of change, no one can simply hold to a job and accept that job will remain the same 40 years. That my grandfather used to work here, my father works here, and now I'm going to work here mentality is dying, killing with it the hopes of those who are not willing to accept the need to grow and adapt on the positive side. Can you imagine what you can become if you keep up with the accelerating learning curve throughout your life? Can you imagine what skills you will develop, what insights you will need to have? Forming that habit of personal growth will require consistent effort that only discipline provides. Let me give you a key to discipline. Start with little discipline and begin to string them up. Gradually, you will discover that by tackling many small disciplines, you will have mastered a big one. I urge you to take a small challenge, something you can do right now, and take another one. After a while, when a big challenge comes your way, you will be able to handle them with complete confidence. As Robert Schuller says, inch by inch, everything is a cinch. If you never take small steps, no one, including yourself, will ever trust you on big ones. Don't be like a man who struts out of his house determined to change a profit picture of a corporation when he hasn't even straightened his own personal budget. Who is kidding? Mistakenly, a man says, "This is the only place where I let down." This cannot be. Every low standards will adversely affect the rest of your performance. Why? Because doing less than you're capable of doing creates lack of self-esteem, and lack of self-esteem is the greatest deterrent to success. I'm always asked, "Are you a motivator?" I always reply, "I'm not. I am a businessman. I can share my ideas and experiences, but people have got to motivate themselves." It took me a while, but I finally realized that you cannot change others. The Lord knows I've tried. You may feel challenged by a group of uninspired people, then you decide to commit yourself to making them successful. Even if it kills you, guess what? You will die. Good people are formed, they are not changed. Sure, you cannot change people, but they can change themselves. Here is my first rule to successful management. Don't send your ducks to an ego school. Why? Because it won't work. All you will get are unhappy ducks. They won't soar like eagles. They will just quack and pop on you. I know because I have tried. Recently, a full-page ad of a hotel chain caught my eye. The headline said, "We don't teach people to be nice." And the smaller print, the ad continued, "We simply hire nice people." What a clear shortcut.
Motivation is a mystery. Why does one salesperson simply first prospect at 7 a.m. and another salesperson is just out of bed at 11? I don't know, but it's part of the mystery of life. The millionaire system of other people. I read this book and it started me from the book. Well, guess how many people go out there and get the book? That's right, very few. Is a cheat included? Why wouldn't everyone go out there and get the book? Used to life. Now you've got a lot going on for you. If viewing this video proves that you've got the inner motivation to grow and make changes, I urge you to build your foundation, become all you are capable of becoming. I know you will. This explains the miracle of personal development. I know you missed out numerous things in this video because the topic personal development is really too wide, so I couldn't handle everything in just one video. But I'll end all this coming back to the point that I expressed at the start of the video, which is this business of personal development is one of the most challenging assignments you'll ever put yourself to. But the good news is the business of personal development lasts for lifetime. And the most important part in all is create a discipline that is going to help you be consistent on the task that you're about to put yourself to. Make sure that you work on your mindset, work more on yourself than you do on your job or business. And if you're out there and you're not doing personal development, but you really want to be successful at your business or job or even career, then asking yourself the question, what am I becoming instead of what am I getting, will really have a great profound effect on your life and will also lead you to better ways of understanding how best you really need to work on yourself. And this will also lead you at your job or even at your workplace, even in your career. And if you can do more personal development, then you have something that you can leverage on a higher salary. At the end of this all, I want to end with a message that I've repeated numerous times in this video, which is work more on yourself than you do on your business. And there you are. You have arrived at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't think of just yet. I just do want to take my time and say thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. As you know, this thing takes quite a great deal of time and quite sleepless night doing the research, scripting, filming, and editing. I think you know how much I do appreciate your support. If you genuinely enjoy the video, hit the like button. If you dislike, hit the dislike press just to be sure, and please leave a comment below why. Because my goal to this channel has been to create educative, entertaining style videos about business and entrepreneurship. And if it sounds like something you could be interested in and you want to tune in for more, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell such that all your notifications are turned on and you're notified when new videos pop. As per usual, my friend, high five. This explains the miracle. And this explains the miracle of personal development. I know I missed out numerous topics in this video, but if you genuinely enjoy the video, you can cut it. Things have changed.